All right, this is the second story. This one is comes from my father. Now, I don't have pictures to the first story. I had pictures to go along with everything. Some of these pictures are just pictures. They're not all. I didn't have pictures of the exact dirt road Dad was walking on, and so some of them, if I tell you that they belong to a certain person, that's their pictures. Other pictures I just moved in. So my dad was about 15 years old, and he was walking home from a party. This would have been in the late 1930s. He didn't have a car. They were poor, and he was walking along a dirt road to his grandmother's house because his family was so large. He had so many brothers and sisters. He had to live with his grandmother. So he was walking home. It's probably late at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's walking home from a party, and it's a moonlight night, and the dirt roads in Florida are white sand, so the dirt road would have been almost shining under the moonlight of the night. And he was happy. He had been to the party, he had flirted with girls and danced with some girls, so he was real excited, and he was just happy. And my father loved to talk, so he was looking for somebody to talk to. He was hoping that he'd meet somebody, although the chances of meeting somebody on a dirt road at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning was pretty slim. So he's walking along, he's happy, he's smiling, and he starts to see something standing beside the road up ahead of him by the creek. About 2.5 miles from his grandmother's house, there was a creek that went across the road. And as he got closer, he thought he could see somebody or something standing by the road near the creek. He couldn't tell what they were, but he kept on walking, and he was happy because he was going to see somebody. He thought maybe that they were out hunting at night or something, and he was looking forward to saying hello to them. He couldn't really tell much about who they were at the time, but as he got closer, he began to see that they were a man and a woman. And as he got even closer, he could tell that the woman had on a gray dress, an old gray dress, and the man had on a white shirt and dark pants. And he got closer, and he's thinking of, what am I going to say to him? He's thinking about how he's going to say hello and what he's going to say, and he's going to tell him about the party, and he's real excited. He's sure that he knows them because he knows everybody that lives around there. So he's thinking about what he's going to say, and he gets closer. He sees that the man and the woman are both black people, and he's wondering who they are. There's some black families that live around, but he's wondering who. He knows the black families that live around there, and he doesn't really recognize them by how they're standing, who they could be. So he's going to ask them, what are they doing, or are you guys hunting? What's going on? And so he gets up there, and the man turns around to look at Dad as he's walking up to him about to say hello. And Dad said, as the guy turned around and looked at me, I could see from his eyes that he was not alive. There was something about his eyes that made you know that this person was not alive. So Dad eased over to the side of the road, and he said he started walking a little faster, And then he started walking a little bit faster and a little faster as he got across from him. And then he couldn't control it anymore. He took off and started running. He ran the 2 miles to his grandma's house as fast as he could go, running just as fast as he could go. He got to his grandma's house, and she had a picket fence around the house, and he just jumped over the picket fence, ran in the house, and because it was so late, he didn't wake anybody up. He just slipped into bed and went to sleep. The next morning, his grandma's up and she's making breakfast. And he gets up and he sits down at the table and he's moving the forks and the spoons around and looking at his grandma. And his grandma's just working there making breakfast. And he said, "Grandma." And she said, "What is it, son?" He said, "I saw something on the way home last night down by the creek." And his grandma turned and looked at him and pointed her finger and said, "Don't say anything else. I'll tell you what you saw. You saw a black man and a black woman down there by the creek. The black woman was wearing an old gray homespun dress, and the black man had on a white shirt and black pants." And Daddy said, "Yeah, Grandma, that's right. How did you know?" And she said, "You're not the first person to see this." She said, "There was, long before you or even I was born," she said, "there was a black man and a black woman that was trying to escape and go north." And she said, "They were caught down there by the creek and they were hung, killed." And she said, "Some nights you can walk by that creek and you can still see them." And Daddy said, "Yeah, is that them?" She said, "Yeah, did you notice what direction they were looking?" And he said, "Yeah, they were looking back north." And Grandma said, "Yes." She says, "There are grown men that live in this area that will not take this road at night because they've seen that black woman and black man." And now my daddy swears that what he saw was true, and he swears that this actually happened. Um, I believe him. I grew up with him, and I knew when he was kidding around and when he wasn't. And I believe that he saw that black woman and black man staring north, looking toward the North Star early that morning, walking down that moonlit road at night. The next story has to do with my grandma's dad, and I'll start it in a few minutes.